This video will go over how to troubleshoot eQAPP errors in FUDSChem. For more information on how to create an eQAPP, please refer to our eQAPP tutorials playlist, linked in the description. Go to Tools, Data, eQAPP Setup. Make sure the correct project is selected in the Project Name dropdown. Once we have finished setting up the eQAPP, we would screen it here on the Project tab. However, in order for the screening checks to run correctly, they first need to be added to the project. You can find out whether they have already been added by going to Reports, Environmental Setup Reports, Active Screening Checks. If your project is selectable from the dropdown, and if screening checks are listed below when you click View Report, that means they have already been added. If not, go back to the Project tab of the eQAPP and click Add Screen Checks. Note that it is okay to click this button more than once for the same project. It won't have any adverse effects. Now that we know checks have been added, let's click Screen eQAPP. This runs a series of screening checks to ensure consistency within analysis methods and confirm no data is missing. Checks are designed to help make sure data is of the highest possible quality. They are added and updated periodically in order to prevent new issues that are identified. Once the eQAPP has finished screening, the status box will update with the number of errors and warnings. In some cases, the self-serve error conversion tool will allow you to change certain errors to warnings. We will look at this tool more later. To review any errors, click View Errors Report. You can save this report in various formats by clicking the floppy disk icon, or print it by clicking the printer icon. The error report will always follow the same format. The gray box includes the name and description of the error. It is followed by a tip to help you know how to resolve it. Relevant data from your file is shown below to pinpoint where the error is found. We'll troubleshoot the analyte limits error first. The description tells us that limits cannot be null. The tip states to add values for PQG, LOD, and LOQ. Below, we can see that the solid and aqueous matrices for method SW6010C both have this issue. All of the limits for iron are currently set to 0. We would need to populate them. Note that resolving one error can sometimes resolve another. For example, the analyte limits 0 error is also flagging for iron because the limits are set to 0. This will also resolve once we populate the limits. Let's go back to the eQAPP and go to the Analyte Limits tab. For more information on this tab, please refer to our eQAPP Analyte Limits tab tutorial video, linked in the description. Let's choose the SW6010C method for water. For iron, we will populate the necessary fields with the limits provided by the lab. For the sake of simplicity, we'll use 150 for the LOQ, 5 for the LOD, and 2.5 for the DL. Click Save Changes. We'll need to do the same thing for our soils method. First, change the method. Then enter 150 for the LOQ, 5 for the LOD, and 2.5 for the DL. Click Save Changes. Let's return to the Project tab. Click Screen eQAPP. The eQAPP now has fewer errors. If we open the error report again, we can see that our update successfully resolved all issues with iron. We still need to resolve the issues with copper. Let's look at the analyte limit sequence 4xDL error next. This error says that LOD must be between 2 and 4 times the DL. Below, we can see that the solid and aqueous matrices for methods SW6010C both have this issue. Let's go back to our eQAPP and take a look at copper on the Analyte Limits tab. We'll choose the method and take a look at copper. Here, we can see the LOQ and LOD are equal. If an LOD is not established, the LOQ value should be used as a best practice. This may be what occurred here. In this case, we would consult with the project team to make sure this LOD value is appropriate. If so, then the core chemist can change the 4xDL error to a warning using the self-serve tool. We go over this in more detail in our eQAPP Change Errors to Warnings self-serve video, linked in the description. Acting as the core chemist, we will click the button to change the errors to warnings. We can see that the name of the person who changed the errors to warnings is recorded for the sake of transparency. Once errors are resolved, be sure to take a look at the warnings. Though warnings will not prevent you from certifying your eQAPP, they are still items of interest, and resolving them will improve your product for your client. Click the number of warnings to pull up a warning report. Here, you would review the warnings and determine if you can resolve them. In some cases, warnings cannot be resolved and will need to be left as is, such as these warnings for copper. For further help troubleshooting eQAPP errors, please reach out to your Synectics point of contact. Once the eQAPP is error-free and warnings have been reviewed, you can certify it. Note that once the eQAPP screens without errors, it will automatically be locked from further editing. To make additional changes, click Enable Edit to unlock it. Be sure to rescreen it once changes are made. We go over the next steps for certifying and approving the eQAPP in our eQAPP Workflow Steps Before Final Approval video, linked in the description. Don't forget to subscribe to the FUDSChem YouTube channel for more tutorial videos. All of the tutorials and playlists mentioned during this video are linked in the description below. Lastly, if you have questions or comments, feel free to contact us at fuds.support@synectics.net. Thank you.